going to be covering is finding all roots of a polynomial given one rational root. So we're still working with polynomials. We're working a little bit backwards than we were before. We've written polynomials a few weeks ago, and then we practiced some synthetic division and we practiced the quadratic formula. And the reason for that is for this specific lesson. So it says a graph of f of x equals 2x to the fourth power minus 18x squared plus 8x plus 24 is shown below. So this is a polynomial. It says identify the degree of the polynomial. So the degree of our polynomial is going to be a 4. It is a fourth degree polynomial. Fourth degree. Okay, you look for the highest exponent. Okay, identify the zeros or the roots of f of x. So because it is a fourth degree polynomial, it'll have up to 4 roots. Okay, so if we look here, the first root here is a negative 3. So x equals negative 3. The next root here is negative 1. And then the last root here is 2. And it does have a multiplicity of 2 because if you notice on your graph, it touches, but it doesn't cross. It immediately touches a graph and then just bounces back up. So it's 2, and the 2 actually repeats twice. So it says write the equation of f of x in factored form. So if negative 3 is a root, then that means that x plus 3 is a factor. If negative 1 is a root, then x plus 1 is a factor. If positive 2 is a root, then x minus 2 is a factor. So these are your factors. And so that's what we're going to be looking for today is we're going to find all the factors of our polynomial. This one specifically is going to have, remember, the a that goes in the front. So if we look here, 2, 18, 8, and 24, their greatest common factor is a 2. So that's the number that's here in the front. So a polynomial of degree n will have n roots, some of which may be multiple roots or repeated roots like we had in the example. So some examples here, it tells you x squared minus 3x minus 8 is a polynomial, and it is a degree 2 polynomial. As such, it will have 2 roots. Here we have x to the third power minus 9x squared plus 24x minus 16 is a polynomial of degree 3, and as such, will have 3 roots. Okay, so on this lesson, we will learn the process to find algebraically all the roots of the polynomial given one rational root. So here, they give us one of the roots. They tell us the root is negative 2. So given negative 2 is a root of this function here, the function is x to the third power minus 8x minus 8. Find the remaining roots. Okay, so there's some things or there's a thought process that you need to go through. So the first thing is, from the information given, we can reach the following conclusions. Well, the degree of f of x here is going to be 3. Our highest exponent is a 3. That means that the function is going to have 3 roots. One of the roots we already know is negative 2. Okay, if negative 2 is a root of f of x, then one of the factors is x plus 2. Okay, so here's our polynomial, x cubed minus 8x minus 8. We already know one of the factors is x plus 2. Now we got to find the other 2 factors. That's what we're looking for. Okay, so first what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to divide our polynomial x to the third power minus 8x minus 8. And we're going to have to divide it by x plus 2. Okay, because we're going to break down the factors. So to find another factor of f of x. So we're going to use synthetic division. Remember, when we're using synthetic division, we need to make sure that this piece right here, that the x is to the first power and that the x doesn't have a number in front of it. Okay, so if the factor is x plus 2, then negative 2 is going to go in here. Okay, your root is what goes in that little box. And then when we look at this next piece, we are going to write the coefficients, but we need to make sure that they're in order from the biggest exponent to the smallest exponent. Okay, so the exponent for the x to the third power is 1. We don't have an x to the second power, and it's okay, but we just need to fill that in with a 0. Okay, so we don't have an x to the second power, we're going to fill that in with a 0. And then we have negative 8 as our next one, and then negative 8 again. And we're going to use synthetic division. So we start off by dropping the 1, and then we multiply. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. Then we add 0 plus negative 2 is negative 2. And then we multiply negative 2 times negative 2 gives us a positive 4. Then we add these two going down. So we add negative 8 plus 4, that gives us a negative 4. And then we multiply negative 2 times negative 4 gives you a positive 8. And then negative 8 plus 8 gives us 0. So on all these problems, you will always have 0 as your remainder. If you do not get a 0 as your remainder, then you might have done something wrong. I would go back and check. Okay, so your first step is to do synthetic division. Once we got our synthetic division down, we're going to go ahead and write this equation. So if it was x to the third power, the next one in line is 1x squared. X squared. Sorry, my pen is giving me trouble. Minus 2x minus. Okay, so that means that x plus 2 times x squared minus 2x minus 4 times x plus 2 is going to give you a polynomial, x cubed minus 8x minus 8. Okay, but we don't have it completely broken down. We need to break down the x squared into two factors. So here we have x plus 2. We're going to break down this x squared minus 2x minus 4. We're going to break that down into two factors. Okay, so we don't know what these numbers are here, but we need to figure those out. And the way that we break this down is by using the quadratic formula, which is why we practiced that before we went on break. So x squared minus 2x minus 4. Now with these ones, you guys should be getting whole perfect numbers. If you didn't, you might have done something wrong. So based off of this, we identify our A. Our A is 1. We identify our B. Our B is negative 2. And we identify our C. C is negative 4. So here we have B equals negative 2. So if B is already negative, then we're going to have a positive 2. Okay. Plus or minus the square root of B squared. So negative 2 squared minus 4 times A. A is 1 times C. C is negative 4. And all of this is going to be over 2 times A. So 2 times 1. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. Remember, we do the part under the square root first, just to make sure we get a whole number. So 2 plus or minus the square root of, we're going to do negative 2 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 4. And that gives us, let's simplify it. So 2 plus or minus the square root of 20 sorry, is going to give us 4 times 5. This is all over 2. Now remember, the 4, we can take the square root of 4 and get a whole number. We can't take the square root of 5 and get a whole number. So the 5 is going to stay trapped inside of the square root. And then the 4, we can take the square root of 4. That gives us 2. All right. So we're going to divide each one by 2. So 2 divided by 2 gives us 1. So x equals 1 plus or minus 2 divided by 2 again gives us 1 and the square root of 5. Now this, you don't have to write the 1 in the front. You could just write it as 1 plus the square root of 5. And the other one would be 1 minus the square root of 5. So then here at the very end, it says the 3 rational roots of the polynomial are, we got one is 1 plus the square root of 5. And we got the other one 1 minus the square root of 5. And the last one is a 1 that they gave us, which was negative 2. That's it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and try this one more time. So you're going to follow the same steps. I don't want you guys to get super confused. Your first step, even though we go through the thought process, the first step is to do the synthetic division. Synthetic. And then after you do the synthetic division, number 2, you're going to do the quadratic formula. And that's it. Okay, it's just those 2 mathematical steps, that you guys were very strong in and very confident in. Okay, the first part is just going through the thought process and what it actually means. So here it says, given -5 is a root of the function f of x equals 25x to the third power plus 150x squared plus 131x plus 30, find the remaining roots. Well, in your thought process, you should think, well, this is a third degree polynomial, which means that it has 3 roots. So my answer, I'm supposed to give 3 roots. One of the roots is -5 because they already gave me that. So if -5 is the root of f of x, then one of the factors is x plus 5. Okay, which means that you're going to have 3 factors. Where do you know one is x plus 5, but the other 2 we don't know? That's what we're looking for. So we start off by dividing. So if x plus 5 is a factor, then your root here is going to be -5. Okay, you make sure this is in order from biggest to smallest, and that you have every single term. So we have 25, we have 150, 131, and 30. And we go ahead and drop the 25. And we multiply -5 times 25 gives us -125. We add 150 plus -125 gives us 25. Then we multiply -5 times 25 gives us -125 again. And we add 131 plus -125 is going to give us 6. Then we multiply -5 times 6 gives us -30. And we add, and that gives us 0. Remember, you should always get a remainder of 0. Okay, so that means that this is 25x squared plus 25x plus 60. This is your A. This is your B. This is your C. You plug it into the quadratic formula. Okay, so here it just gives a little explanation. 25x to the third power plus 150x squared plus 131x plus 30 is going to give us x plus 5 times what we got here. 25x squared plus 25x plus 60. And we have to break this down into 2 other factors. Okay, and the way that we figure that out is the quadratic formula. So here we have 25x squared plus 25x plus 60. And A is 25. B is also 25. And C is 60. Okay, so here we have x equals -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2 times a. So we're going to use our quadratic formula. -b will be as positive 25, so -25 here. And then plus or minus the square root of b is 25, so 25 squared minus 4 times a is 25, so 4 times 25 times c, which is 60. And all of this is over 2 times a, so 2 times 25. So I'm going to go ahead and do the part in the square root first. So x equals -25 plus or minus. Do the part under the square root, and then it's all over 2 times 25. It's over 50. So give me 1 second so I can put this in my calculator real quick. And this gives me 4 times 25 times 60. Is it 60 or is it 6? Oh, it's 6. I don't know. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know where I saw 60 and I put it as 60, but it should have been 6. Yeah. Let me just fix it. All right. Let me erase this one too. Four times 25 times 6. 600. All right. So it gives you, when you put all this in your calculator, it gives you 25. So we can take the square root of 25 and get a whole number. That gives us 5. This is over 50. So we have negative 25 plus or minus 5 over 50. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and split it up. So negative 25 plus 5 over 50 and negative 25 minus 5 over 50. And you can go ahead and put that in your calculator the way you see it. I'm going to go ahead and simplify it. This would give us negative 20 over 50, which would reduce to negative 2 over 5. This one is going to give us negative 30 over 50, which will reduce to negative 3 over 5. So now the three roots of our polynomial are negative 2 over 5. The other one's going to be negative 3 over 5. And the last one is going to be the ones they gave us, which was negative 5. And that's it. All right, so thank you guys. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.